Hi, I'm Greg Thorne with GetRodBlanks.com, and today we'd like to show you a video on how to make a unique reel seat called a hidden boot comfort seat. But before we show you that reel seat, let me show you where the idea or the need came from. Back in the mid-80s to mid-90s, there was a very popular handle configuration called the Tennessee Grip. And it was popular because it was simple and it was comfortable. Most people taped their reel on. And if you were an angler that cared more about function over fashion, this was your handle. It was very comfortable to hold on to. There was no metal. It was very round, very warm in colder temperatures, and very sensitive as well. The cork is directly connected to the rod blank, and the reel directly connected to the cork. But if you didn't like how it looked, you wouldn't use it. And if you wanted to take your reel on and off for any reason, it was really inconvenient. So that spawned the new Comfort Grip reel seat, which is very similar to a cork Tennessee handle in that the reel boot is concealed. You don't feel it. It's very round, it's very comfortable. You don't feel any metal edges or any cold metals. And in fact, if you want to put a little tape around the reel stem here during cold weather, you won't have any metal on your hand at all. And like all other modern reel seats, it's a twist lock mechanism, so you can easily take your reel on and off. And we'll take you into the rod shop and show you how to put one of these together. And when you first see the video, I'll warn you, it seems like there's a lot of steps and it's intricate. But what we have to do is show you each individual step so you understand how it works and how it goes together. If we don't do that, if we try to make it a quicker assembly, you'd miss a few things and might glue things together that shouldn't be glued together. So you'll see each and every step, but what I'm saying is once you understand it, you can take maybe 3 steps and turn it into one, greatly reducing the amount of steps or the time required to make one of these. So follow us into the rod shop and we'll show you how to put one together. What we have here are the required parts to make a hidden hood comfort seat. Primary piece is a size 16 reel seat with an extended hood, extended barrel hood. Then we have 8 Syncork rings with 1.25 inches outside diameter. 2 EVA rings, they're about 1/16 or a little bit thicker than that, thick, 7/8 of an inch inside diameter, and the outside diameter is just a skosh bigger than 1.25 inches. Doesn't really matter, it's going to be shaved down when it's lathed. And those are going to wind up being the cushion rings on the locking mechanism. And then this piece here will be the cap on the end where the blank comes through. It'll be glued on into this piece in that fashion. And the assembly is going to be fairly easy. We'll show you the gluing sequence, but put on the first 2 hoods. Oops, wrong one here. There we go. And then these 3 rings will get glued on the barrel eventually. And this one's been cut in half. We want to make that so we're just about the length where the threads meet the main barrel. That'll be that assembly there. And then these 3, actually this will be glued onto this here, then that guy there, and then the rest of the corks. We're going to wind up shaving one up a little bit down, and that piece will be internally there. So give us a second to get the glue mixed up and we'll go through the gluing sequence. Okay, this is gluing sequence number 1. I've got some 2-part epoxy here, 5-minute epoxy with some black dye. Get that stirred up and ready to go. Okay, that should be good. Oh, here's that part over here. First thing we'll do is we'll glue this hood to that reel seat. I'm going to get a fairly liberal amount in there. I'm not going to be bashful with it. And push it in this fashion. If we go this way, or if we put glue on it here first and then push it on that way, we'd wind up getting glue probably on the inside of that that real boot and real hood. We don't want to do that. So anyway, we're going to get some on the inside, bring her down till it's even and flush with the outside rim. Okay, and we'll set that aside to dry. Now this one here, this is a little bit more critical. We can't get any glue in that rotating mechanism or it'll lock up and the real seat won't work to begin with. So what we're going to do there, rather than putting glue on the inside of this hood, we're going to put some on here and push it that way, bringing the glue to the outside surface and leaving that mechanism free to turn. So we'll get some glue here, and I already roughed up the outside of this stainless hood for better adhesion. I did the same with the other one. And I put a little mark so I know where my center is on the reaming of that hood. Bring that down till it's flush. Scrape off any excess. We'll set that aside to dry. Now I'm going to glue these three together, okay? And then I'm going to clamp it and set that aside to dry. And that will be gluing sequence number 1. What we're going to do next is glue this EVA compression ring to this ring here, and then we'll be gluing this one to that surface of that cork there. Okay. I've already taken these rings and kind of burnished the outside with some 60 grit sandpaper. Not a lot, just a bit on both items. And now we're going to take, well, what I'll be doing is I'll take some 5-minute epoxy, some black 5-minute epoxy, and I'll go on this surface all the way. And then I'm going to line up the bottom ring of this circle here with the bottom circle part of that hood. And that'll give the, I don't know if you can see in there or not, but that gives the real boot hood plenty of room. And it's a great fit. And I'm going to put a washer on there, because that's going to give me a little even pressure. And then I'm going to take the clamp and clamp it, okay? And I'll do the same on this surface here. Put some glue all the way around it, line it up nice and even. Put the washer on it and clamp it. Now I released these 3 corks from the clamp that are going to fit onto the main barrel. And as it's supposed to, some beads of glue formed on the inside, just like they do on the outside. Some glue got squeezed out, and that formed on the inside, and I couldn't get it to slide down on the barrel. But a rat tail file will easily take that small amount of glue out and get it to the point where you can slide it down to the, as you did previously. Okay. Now I also did 2 of these, and while the glue was drying on one, I took my real boot, and they're all pretty much standard nowadays, and measured each side and put a piece of tape down, marking a straight line with the tape to the width of my boot, about a 1/16 of an inch on each side more. Then with a stiff-bladed fine-tooth saw, you cut out that channel following your tape lines. Try to make your cuts as straight up and down as possible. You don't want them yawing out. And get it so you got about a 1/16 of an inch on each side. Now we're gonna glue this to the barrel. I scuffed up on the bottom and the 2 sides of this barrel with 60 grit paper, And I'm going to apply a fairly liberal amount of glue all the way around, from about that line all the way to about that line right there. And then I'm going to separate just a little bit with my fingers these corks, bring them down, line them up with the hood, the two edges with the hood, work them back and forth a little bit. And I'm going to take a piece of tape and go across here, squeezing it together. Then one across here, squeezing it together. Then I'm going to put a washer on it and clamp it. Give that time to dry, and we're just about there. Okay, we've got these three pieces released from the glue clamps. Everything turned out fine. This piece right here is still freewheeling like it's got to be. We've got a nice amount of glue around this foam ring, but not inside the hood. This piece turned out fine. We've got a nice fit with the real foot or real boot. Not too tight, not too loose. I also did another one, which came out to be just a skosh tighter, but still within usable tolerances. So the next stage, and we're getting real close to the end here. Get the key slot up, lined up, the key slot. So this is the barrel mechanism that turns and moves this hidden hood forward. Now we've got our cushion seat right there, cushion ring. And what we're going to do is glue this ring with another cushion ring on it onto the barrel. When it's locked onto the barrel, it'll become our turning nut. Okay, but we can't allow any glue between these two surfaces. If they become one, then this one won't turn, and it'll be useless. So what we're going to do is put some glue on the inside of this cork ring and slide it down, rotating it, get a good glue bond underneath it till we match up here. If we put glue on the outside of this and then slide it down, it'll force glue ahead of the ring, and then squeeze, this will become glued together. So we'll put the glue on this ring, slide it down in this fashion. That way no glue will get between these two surfaces. Then we'll glue, and I did cut this off a little bit, I didn't want it as long as it was. Then we'll take this ring and glue it on, and these two surfaces can and will be bonded together. Then we'll get a fair amount of glue on this foam surface here and glue it on the end. That'll be the foam cap on the end. When I clamp it, I will want to keep this end down. I don't want to keep this end up, because if any glue's here, it could dribble down and get in that threaded mechanism inside and again lock things up. So we'll just get the glue on here, on this surface, clamp it with not a lot of tension. We still want this to be freewheeling and moving. We just want these three pieces underneath to get glued into position. So we'll glue this up, get in a clamp, and we'll come back and either lathe it by itself on a lathe or put it on a rod and lathe it, and we'll be done. So hey, real quick, I just wanted to show you something about gluing this reel seat onto your rod blank. First thing you want to do is release your locking mechanism. Then you slide that down the blank. You put the tip in this end first and slide that down the blank. You don't want to put it in this end first, you'll regret it. So put it in that end first, slide it down the blank, let it free float down there. Then find the area that you want your reel seat to be. Place your arbors or build up your bushings. Glue the reel seat into place along with your front cover up cork and anchor cork. Okay, let that dry. Then bring your locking mechanism back up. Thread that back on. get it good and tight, and then you're ready to lathe it. Okay, we've got it in the lathe, and to save some video time, what I did was take this file and knock down all the glue ridges. And I want to do that on this handle configuration, this design, because if we got those glue ridges on there and we're turning this aggressively in the lathe and the file's bouncing up and down until we get those knocked down, those ridges knocked down, we could disturb some of these finer edges on the channel, and we don't want to do that. So getting those ridges knocked down by hand, it only takes a minute. In fact, I kind of went overboard and almost shaped this thing. And Syncork is incredibly easy to shape, just with any file that you use on regular cork, just a little bit more downward pressure, and you're working Syncork about the same rate you do natural cork. But anyway, we got this to where we can lathe it. And I also took a popsicle stick and cut it off about the same length as a real foot, and put that in there. What that does is acts like a real foot, so when that hood goes up onto the real foot, if there's any kind of a change of angle at all, it compensates for that. So there you go. We'll finish shaping it. Start with this file here. Got some kind of rattle going on here. Tighten that. And it works. Okay, now I'm going to go at it with the drywall sandpaper. It won't take too long. Keep that moving around so we don't build up any heat. Take a look at it. Looking real close. I'm a little uneven right here. I'm just gonna knock that down a little bit. And then hit it again with the drywall sandpaper. There we go. And now I'm going to take this 60 grit sandpaper and rub it back and forth in this fashion to cosmetically blend it in and also raise that nap, that texture. You know, I'm just going to round off that front a little bit. If I was going to do anything more than this, I would use a little more aggressive tool, but just going to gently round that corner and rough up the front surface of that Syncork ring. And then back here, because this is EVA foam on the back, it's going to shape a lot easier. It's a lot faster. It's not as dense. Be gentle with that. And there you go. We've got Syncork Comfort Grip handle. Thanks for watching.